2026 is the year of divinity. When I told my team this, when I told my students this, when I tell my friends this, they're all clueless. They're like, what are you talking about? What is divinity? Are you going to be praying 5 times a day now? Are you more closer to God now? No, it's got nothing to do with religion. In fact, let me break it down to you. Divinity, if you search up the meaning, it means the ability to transcend perceived limitations. And if you break the entire phrase down word by word, it means transcend means what? It means to rise above. Perceived means what? It means self-imposed by yourself, right? The limitations in which you impose onto yourself, or by society, or by your family, or by your friends, right? People who tell you that you can't do something. And limitations is quite self-explanatory, right? It's the boundaries in which you have created by you for yourself. So in 2026, my goal, my mission, right, not just for me, but for my team, but for my family, but for my students, is to rise above the limitations that is imposed by ourselves to ourselves, by society, by community, by the world onto ourselves. Quite simply put, it's so that we can reach our fullest potential as humans. I don't know whether I can feel this or not, right? But I have felt this coming towards the end of 2025, that there's gonna be this big shift in how the world is gonna work, right? As we start to adopt AI more often, people are over-reliant and over-depending on AI. In fact, like literally just before I recorded this video, I sat down, I went to ChatGPT and I was like, yo, ChatGPT, I want to record this video called How to Disappear and Come Back Unrecognizable in 2026. So write me a script, please. And then it literally wrote me a script. And I was about to literally just take that script, put it onto a teleprompter like all of these YouTubers and influencers do, and just read it out word for word like a freaking robot. But instead, I wanted to do something different. I was like, you know what? I want you guys to sense my sincerity, my authenticity, and just my love for you, right? So in order for me to do that, I need to convey my message, right? Like really like what I believe in, how you can actually become the best version of yourself this year without relying on any script or without even relying on AI, right? Which is the thing that is taking away our divinity. Okay, so as you know, in science, there's this saying which says that if you don't use it, you will eventually lose it, right? So if you don't actively train your muscles by speaking, writing, reading, eventually you're just going to lose the muscles which is in charge of those particular activities, which means you're just going to get dumbbell, okay? So I don't want to get dumbbell. So that's another thing, right? I want to make sure that I'm not relying or depending too much on AI this year as much as possible. I want to really just unlock my divinity and just allow myself to reach my fullest potential. In fact, I'm so confident in this that I'm just not even going to cut this video whatsoever. I'm not going to edit this video whatsoever. This entire video is going to be taken in one take, right? So whatever I'm going to share with you is based on my thoughts, based on my belief, my worldview, and hopefully you share the same. If you don't, you can treat this as like a motivation video and you can just go and mentally masturbate or whatever. Anyways, so here's what I want to do this year, right? And hopefully when I tell you, this actually inspires you, okay? I want to make sure that I become the best version of myself so that I can actually build the best trading software in this industry. So in Japanese, there's this philosophy called the misogi, right? Which means what is the 1 year defining event that if you accomplish it, this year is going to be a good year, right? So to me, that's that one thing, right? Is I want to build the world's first trading super app, and I want to get it and place it in the hands of every single trader out there on this planet. And that is Edgeflow. And in order for me to make that happen, I need to become the person who is capable of making that shit happen. I need to become a CEO who is able to inspire and rally my teammates. I need to become the CEO who's able to obsess and sweat over the small stuff that everybody ignores. I need to be the CEO that actually obsess over my customers and try to get them results as much as possible, right? So it's like, that's the person that I need to become in order for me to achieve my desired outcome for this year, in order to achieve my misogi, right? So my misogi is by December 31st, if I have gotten 2,000 users, at least 2,000 users into Edgeflow, 2026 was a good year, right? No matter how many difficulties, obstacles, challenges, tribulations that the world throws at me, as long as I make that shit happen, as long as I become the person who can do that, 2026 was a good year. So right now, at this point of time, go and define what is your misogi. What is the one thing that if you accomplish it, you'll feel proud of yourself? Right? It doesn't matter whether there are good days, bad days, as long as you show up every single day and you work towards that goal, by the end of this year, whether you achieve it or not, you will tell yourself that it was a good year, right? So go and define your misogi, right? That's always going to be the first step, is to define exactly what you want. Because once you define exactly what you want to accomplish from this year, getting there is the easy part. The mind is such a wonderful thing where it will come up with all sorts of ways for you to accomplish your goal as long as you clearly define exactly what you want, right? So really make sure you write down your misogi, make it as specific, measurable, realistic, and achievable as possible, and make that your North Star for this year. Which means every single day you want to be taking the actions that will actually move you closer towards that goal. You want to be thinking, behaving, feeling like the person who has already achieved that goal. Okay? The next step, after you have defined clearly what you want, is not to plan out the steps. Okay, like this is where a lot of self-improvement people will be out here telling you, okay, now you gotta work hard every single day, wake up at 5 a.m. No. The next step is to change your identity. Okay, so here's the funny thing, right? It's all connected. Everything is interconnected in the universe. Everything happens for a reason and a purpose. Now, this also means that the effect or the power of cause and effect is very, very real. In fact, that is why everything exists. It's a simple equation of cause and effect. Input equal output. Which means that if you want to get the output, if you want to get the outcome, guess what? You have to put in the actions that is necessary for you to get the outcome in order for you to achieve the outcome. But in order for you to put in the actions, you first need to become the person who is capable of putting in the actions, right? So, like I said earlier, my goal this year is to get Edgeflow in the hands of every single Forex trader out there, all right? Forex for now, eventually we're going to venture into the crypto market, commodities, indices, stocks, probably by the end of this year, right? But Forex for now, okay? My goal is to get Edgeflow into the hands of every single Forex trader out there. Obviously, that's my outcome. That's my desired outcome. That's what I want to accomplish by the end of this year. But my job is not my goal. My job is to make sure that I create an exceptional product. I obsess over my customers. I get them results. And I build a team that is capable of running a high-level software company. Right? That's my job, right? So my job requires me to take those actions. But then my job is being the CEO, right? So it's like, that's the identity that I have to morph into this year, right? And in order for me to become the CEO, what are the values that I have to embody on a day-to-day basis? What are the principles that I need to live by on a day-to-day basis? Right? Like ultimately, who must I become in order to make that into a reality? Well, I don't just do my best, I do what's required. Which means I don't stop when I'm tired, I stop when I'm done. Well, I hold myself to high standards, just as I hold my team to high standards. No one is going to hold me to higher standards than myself. Well, I sweat over the small stuff, right? I obsess over the tiny details, right? So all of this stuff right here, all of these values will eventually create the identity. Okay, so like I said, it's all a loop, right? So this is results. And before results, you have to take the actions that is necessary for you to get the results. But before you take the actions that is necessary to get the results, you need to have the belief that you can actually achieve the results. And in order for you to have the belief that you can actually achieve the results, you first need to embody the identity of the person who is capable of achieving the results, right? So it's like identity, belief, actions, results. And then once you produce the results that you want, you get some wins under your belt, you start feeling certain emotions, right? Whether that's joy, gratitude, compassion, kindness, selflessness, whatever happy emotions that you feel, all of these emotions further reinforce the identity and just continue reinforce the right behaviors so that you feel like going out there and showing up again and getting the same result. And eventually, like, this entire virtuous cycle just compound itself over time, right? So you can see every single thing that you want to accomplish in this life, you can accomplish it if you just change the person right now. If you can just change your internal state, if you can just change your emotional state, right? So identity, belief, actions, results. So that's the formula right there. And I'm a big believer that everything happens twice. First in your mind, second time in reality. Right? So right now, as I'm recording this video, I don't sit here and say, oh, I wish that I got 2,000 users into Edgeflow. I wish that I make $1 million a month from trading this year. I wish that all of our students inside the 1% club become 6-figure funded traders. No, I don't sit here and wish. I know that's going to happen. I have absolutely not an ounce of doubt within me that all of those stuff right there is going to happen. And when you have that strong belief, now you are prone to take the actions that's going to make that shit happen, right? It's like now you know exactly what you need to do in order for you to make all of those outcomes and turn them into reality. But if you start having some form of doubts, right? You start saying, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm just not talented enough. I just think I'm too dumb to accomplish those stuff. What happens is that it becomes true, right? You keep on telling yourself that same shit over and over again. Guess what? You start acting in accordance with your own belief. And you start getting the results that you are trying to repel, that you're trying to get away from, right? So do not let self-doubts creep into your mind. Or whenever you get yourself doubting yourself, you need to just be aware and just get rid of that shit. Drop it like a hot potato. Because to me, self-doubts is like a virus. It's infectious, it's dangerous, it's contagious. If you let just a little bit of it creep into your mind, next thing you know, it's gonna condition your body and your mind to believe what it's trying to tell you right now, and you start losing confidence in your abilities, and now you start losing hope. And when you lose hope, that's the worst thing ever, right? That's really the worst thing that can happen to you, because now you are not going to take the actions that is necessary to get your desired outcome, right? So whatever I'm talking to you about in this video, right, it applies to whatever you're trying to accomplish right now. Whether you're trying to become a profitable trader, whether you are trying to become a great writer or content creator, or become a great father or a husband, whatever it is, it all ties back to the same formula that I just mentioned right there, okay? And I just want to say that you are so much more stronger than you have led to believe. We are really not who society has told us we are, like the world has told us that we are weak. That is why we need drugs to actually make our body strong. The world has told us that we are dumb. That's why we need AI to make ourselves smarter. But everything that exists outside of you already exists within you, right? AI, ChatGPT, the ability to have super memory, super cognition, It all exists in your brain, right? Like right now, you're just using 1% of your brain power, probably, right? And drugs, right? Oh, you have to take these antidepressants in order to get better. You have to actually take this to feel happy. Well, everything exists in here. You have the ability to change your emotional state at all times. You have the ability to heal yourself, regenerate yourself. That's what the placebo effect is about, right? Like we all know the placebo effect, that one patient has been given a drug which is told to him that it's going to cure his disease. And then after the patient took that drug, he feels good, he feels like the disease is gone, when in reality, that drug is just a sugar pill. It was just a placebo effect, right? He believed that the drug worked. That's what healed himself. So it's not the drug itself, but it's actually his belief that his body can heal himself that actually healed himself. That's how powerful the mind is. The older I get, the wiser I become, the more I realize that there is no such thing as fate and coincidence. There's only cause and effect. Whatever you want to accomplish in this life is already out there, right? It has a certain frequency. You just need to tune into that frequency. And once you tune into that frequency, the next thing is you want to take the actions necessary to get the outcomes. But you can only do that when you first change your identity. So those are like just some things that I've learned recently that I believe really make me feel empowered, right? I don't know about you, but like after learning all of those stuff right there, it just makes me feel like, dude, I'm so much more than I've led to believe, right? The society has like conditioned me to the belief. And I'll just tell you one more thing, right? This is something that I found out recently which really like shocked me, okay? You know how every great painter leaves their signature on their paintings, right? It's a sign that, they have accomplished like such, they are the one who have created this beautiful masterpiece, right? Just like how every great songwriter have their own signature, just like how every great filmmaker leave their name in the credits scene, right? It got me thinking, okay, if we were created by some being, whether that's God, aliens, the universe, whatever you want to believe, or evolution, whatever it is, whatever, blah, blah, there must be a signature that is within us, right? The creator of human beings have left a signature within us. So, once again, this is a theory from Greg Braden, right, who was the author of Pure Human. He mentioned that humans are comprised of DNA. And if you look at DNA, it comprises of 4 elements: hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon. And if you take the atomic mass of each one of these 4 chemical elements, right, let's say it's 23, 18, 40, whatever, right? I'm just making shit up, right? You take the atomic mass of each one of these elements and you translate them into numbers. And you compare them to the ancient numbers, the ancient text, numerology, right? Ancient language like Sanskrit or Hebrew, they actually spell out a certain phrase. Once again, this is some crazy shit, all right? It spells out God eternal within the body. That message is within every single one of our DNA, and it's within every single one of us watching this right now. In fact, it's within every single human watching this right now. And you might be thinking, horse shit, Brad, right? Like, there's no way that's true. Is it really that hard to believe? I mean, if you look at every ancient text, every religion, every tradition, it all points to the same thing. They all say the same thing. They all say that the kingdom of God isn't outside of you. It isn't found in money, status, fame, or validation, but it's found within you. It's found inside you. And that just further revalidate the belief that the message inside us is true. God eternal within the body. Once again, that just shows how powerful we are. Right? So as you sit here watching this, I want you to like really just unlock your divinity this year. I want you to really just understand how powerful you truly are. And then just make sure that you change into a completely different person. Right? Like for me, coming to this year, one main philosophy that I want to adopt myself is to do what's required. Not just do my best, but do what's required. Which means whatever task I have to accomplish for the day itself, I'm going to do it, regardless of how I feel. Whatever deadline I have to meet, I'm going to do whatever I can, even if that means working overtime, so that I can meet the deadline. And whenever I'm faced at a crossroad, with two paths, the path of least resistance or the path of most resistance, I'm always going to be choosing the path of most resistance. Because that's doing what's required. It might not be fun or sexy in the short term, but it's definitely going to pay off in the long term. And that's the choice that I'm going to live with, right? So, in order for me to start adopting that philosophy, every single day I have to do hard shit. So nowadays I have like a new morning routine, which means I wake up early, right? Either 5 a.m. to like around 6 a.m. ish, or sometimes even 7 a.m., right? I don't have an alarm clock. I just wake up whatever time my body wakes up. Once that's done, after I drink water and I brush my teeth, the first thing I do is to jump into a cold shower. Trust me, it never gets easier. Every single morning, I look at a cold shower, I do not want to do that shit, right? Especially when I was in China and it was like freezing cold. It was like 10 degrees Celsius. Hell no am I jumping into the cold shower, right? But whenever I start to hear that inner voice telling me that I can't do it, you shouldn't do it, you're going to die if you jump into the cold shower, that is when I know I need to shut it the hell up. And I do that by going to the cold shower and turning on the cold water. And I just do it. Because I would do what's required. And whenever I do that, that always like gets me wake up as hell. And I always feel amazing after doing it. And another thing, what I do during the cold shower is that I imagine the water washing away my old identity. Washing away the belief that doesn't serve me anymore. Washing away the limitations that I've imposed onto myself. Washing away the insecurities that I felt while growing up. Washing away like my younger self, the younger unprofitable self who's always living in scarcity and fear. Washing away all of that shit. So when I come out with a cold shower, I'm a completely different person. I've pretty much reset the game, I've just respawned. And after that, I do a meditation. I've been meditating consistently for the past 150 days right now, which is something that I'm really proud of. And I think that's what allowed me to, still be speaking to you guys 23 minutes in without having brain fog whatsoever. Yeah, so meditation really changed my life. And nowadays, I perform this meditation called the Brain-Heart Coherence Meditation. Because I found out that stress isn't in your brain, it's actually in your nervous system. Which also means that if you can connect your heart to your brain, you can align those stuff right there, you can reduce the stress that is within your nervous system. Alright, so this is something that Dr. Joe Dispenza called Brain-Heart Coherence. And you are able to accomplish that by doing these 3 steps. Number 1, you shift your focus. Okay, so once you sit down, right, you close your eyes, you shift your focus from the external environment to within you. And I want you to focus on your heart. You can either physically touch your heart just like this and just direct your focus to the heart, or you can just mentally focus on the heart itself, right? Just visualize it pumping, be grateful that it's pumping blood all over your body without you asking it to do so. That's the first step. Shift your focus from the outside to the inside. And then the next step is to shift your breathing. So as you breathe, you want to exhale longer than your inhale. Because when you do that, you are actually calming your parasympathetic system down, right? You just get into like a more calm and relaxed state. So you can inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 6 seconds or 8 seconds, whatever it is. Just make sure that you exhale longer than your inhale. So the next step is to shift your breathing, right? And just keep on like focusing on the breath. The final step is to shift your state. Okay, the first 2 steps are not going to work if you don't do the third step, which is shift your emotional state. So while you are doing this, you want to feel a good emotion. Joy, happiness, fulfillment, love, compassion, gratitude, selflessness, kindness. You want to feel all the good emotion, or you can just pick one and just focus on it. But you want to feel some form of good emotion. Because when you start doing that, you start doing all 3 of these steps, now your brain and your heart is connected. It's one. It's really the oneness that actually allows you to be calm and relaxed. Now you feel more one with the universe, right? You really feel like everything is really interconnected. Everything really happens for a reason. What's meant to be is meant to be, right? Like, and you just start to relinquish control to the universe to deliver your desired outcome at its own divine timing. Not at your timing, but at its own divine timing. And after I'm done with the meditation itself, I try to sit in my balcony, right, and just admire the sea view while getting insufficient sunlight for about like 5 minutes while reading this book called The Book of Life by J. Krishnamurti, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And I'll do that for 5 minutes. And you can see that's my entire morning routine from top to bottom. And I believe that that's the morning routine that allowed me to become a completely different person this year. I already feel it like this year, right? Coming to this year, I'm just like, you know what? 2025 Brad, he was good, but he was also overworked, burned out a lot of times, and he just had a lot of brain fog, right? And he just couldn't articulate his thoughts clearly. So I'm going to let that shit go. I'm going to let that dumb ass go. And I'm just going to transcend. And the minute I decide to change, the moment I decide that nothing changes if nothing changes, that is where, like I said, I just drop my old self like a hot potato. And now I just feel great. Like I'm as happy as a clown. I'm as free as a seagull. I'm as zen as a monk. I have never been this happy. And the funny part is, I've never worked as hard as well. Because now I don't just focus on making money, or I also don't just focus on, being happy. I focus on mastering the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. Like what Tony Robbins said, the formula for a good life. I have the freedom to do whatever I want and the wisdom to choose work that matters. I'm grateful for the ability to serve humanity, to serve my community, to be able to participate in the financial markets and being quite great at it and just getting compensated for it. And I'm just grateful to be able to like wake up every single day with my 4 limbs, with a loving family, with a shelter over my head, access to clean water and healthy food. I'm grateful for everything that I have right now, and I wouldn't change anything. Like I genuinely wouldn't change anything. And the only thing that's kind of like lacking in my life right now is probably like a wife. So that's another side quest that I have for this year, is to try to get a wife. But to me, that's a preferred indifference. It's like, I'm okay with not having the wife. If it comes, it comes, right? But I'm not actively out there chasing, like trying to find the one. If not, I'm going to be miserable and I'm going to die alone. No. It's like, if it comes, it comes. And I'm okay with not having it because I trust the universe is going to deliver her at its own divine timing. And I know it's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And that's up to the universe, up to God, or whatever you like to believe in. So that's my philosophy right now. It's 2026. I'm getting old. I'm really going to unk status right now. So I believe that if you are getting older, but you're not getting wiser, then you're clearly doing something wrong, right? So I want to always make sure that, whenever I get older, I get a little bit wiser and I continue to impart this wisdom to you guys, right? Because my goal here is not just change your trading, but also change your life. And in order for me to change your life, I have to first start by changing your mindset, your belief, your worldview, and your identity. And I do that through these videos itself. Right, so I hope that this video has been life-changing for you. In fact, it's probably not going to be life-changing unless you take the actions that I laid out on this video itself. I didn't want this video to be like, okay, step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this. No, I wanted it to be like, I'm just going to speak to you with my heart and my soul. And if you understand exactly what I'm saying right here, good. Then you can go out there and apply it. And you can... Tomorrow you just start fresh. Start being a completely different person tomorrow. Right? So you don't have to wait until at the end of this year to be unrecognizable. You can just become unrecognizable tomorrow. The minute you start to change, the minute you can just choose the pain of changing over the pain of staying the same, is the minute you start changing. Like I said, life is going to be filled with pain anyways, right? It's going to be filled with suffering, right? That's inevitable. So you might as well find a mission that is worth suffering for. It could be a work, it could be a relationship, it could be your physical or mental health, whatever it is. Find something that is worth suffering for and just spend the rest of your life trying to fulfill that mission. That's what I've done for myself, and that's what I'll continue to do, fulfilling that mission. So, thank you for staying through the end of this video. I don't even know who's watching right now. I don't even know if there's anybody watching me right now, because it's like 32 minutes right here and I'm still yapping. But like I said, I love this life, man. I want to continue serving you guys. I want to continue making great content. I don't want to be just tied down to like one content itself. I don't want to have a label that is imposed onto me. I'm not Brett Gold. I am simply just a vessel of God, of the universe, of consciousness, whatever that is. I'm just trying to help you guys grow better, and so you guys can expand, right? Just like how the universe is expanding constantly. Because I really believe that if we don't grow, we die, right? So it's either you grow or you die, but there's no in between. If your business is not growing, if your trading is not growing, if your financial is not growing, then you're dying. That's it, right? Like growth or death. And I choose growth any damn time, right? Because growth and progress is what leads to happiness. It's not comfort. It's not the material possessions. It's growth and progress. So let this year be the year that you grow the most. Change your identity, change your belief, change your thoughts, change your emotions, change your actions, and watch the world around you changes. Watch your results change. Let's get to work to make 2026 the greatest year yet. Take care.